You know, in that we just took up the offering, I just felt to remind everybody, and for those of you that haven't been here before to hear me talk about this, just to talk about what tithing or what the tithe spoke of, so we can have our conscience washed clean from thinking that the tithe is somehow about how we give some money to God, and then God will then give us some money. You know, or we give some money to God, and then God will then provide us with life. But what the tithe was a prophecy, just like everything in the Old Testament was a prophecy. And what the tithe prophesied of, it prophesied of the means by which God would provide life to His people. Now, when it talks about God providing life to His people, it doesn't talk about Him providing them with cars and houses and money and $10,000 suits. It talks about Him providing His quality of life, meaning love, joy, peace, kindness, meekness, long-suffering. So the tithe in the Old Testament was not speaking of how we need to give some money to God so we can get some money from God. It wasn't talking about how God can't bless us unless we give Him some money. It was prophesying of how God would provide life to us through something called the tithe. Now, the tithe in the Old Testament spoke of something that you would eat. And so God was prophesying about how He would be our food for life, that He would provide us with food that would then give us His love, His joy, His peace, His kindness, His long-suffering. He would feed us with something that would bring forth His life in us. Now listen, Jesus came as the fulfillment of every prophecy in the Old Testament, and He came and declared Himself to be the bread of life. He said, I am the meat. I am meat indeed. Jesus came as the fulfillment of what God prophesied through the tithe to the people, saying, I will provide you with some food. In the day that you eat the food I provide you with, you'll find that food will manifest my love, my joy, my kindness, my long-suffering, my peace inside of you. Jesus came as the bread of life, or the food that God has provided for us that can give birth to the life of God in us. Now we feed on that food by hearing the message of Jesus and what He's done on the cross and what's happened in His resurrection. And in that we feed on that word and that message, it gives us love, joy, peace, kindness, long-suffering. Glory to God. So the tithe doesn't speak of how God will give you life if you give Him 10%. The tithe speaks of how God will send His Son to be the bread or the food that will give you life. Glory to God. And as we start preaching that message, you know what will happen? People start finding something born in their heart where they say, my goodness, I don't lack anything. And in the day that they find something in their heart that says, I don't lack anything, because the life of God has been born in them, do you know what happens? Is generosity starts pouring out of people. They actually have a desire to give unto a good work when a good work is presented in front of them. Glory to God. You know, this church has been here for 4 years. We haven't one time told anybody they needed to give. We haven't one time told anybody if they don't give, then their finances can't be protected. We haven't once told anybody that if they don't give, God's going to curse them with a curse. Magically, we're still here, and we give away all the CDs for free, everything on the website's for free, and we don't lack anything. Imagine that. Boy, we're really cursed, aren't we? You see, it's just a subtle way of, once again, coming in with something about what we do to have life. So what we say is that do any of us think that we can have God's quality of life in the form of peace, love, joy, long-suffering, kindness, meekness? Do any of us think we can have that by giving some money? Do any of you guys think that if you come up here and give me some money right now, that God's going to give you His love and His peace and His joy? Do you think you can buy the life of God? There was a song like that, right? Was it Stairway to Heaven? Was that the name of that song, Stairway to Heaven? She thought she could buy her way into heaven, right? Listen, man, you can't buy the life of God. You can only receive it as a free gift by sitting at the feet of Jesus and hearing what God has said about you and about Himself in Jesus. Glory to God. That's it, man. That's the only way you can have it. If you don't want to have it that way, then I don't know what to tell you.